Hey Lilies! Today, I'm ranking every Hive Bedwars map from worst to best, including seasonal maps. This isn't a strict, objective tier list. I'm using my own intuitive, completely arbitrary, and occasionally self-contradictory criteria. In other words, how these maps feel to play. If you agree with me, great. If you don't, you're probably still right. Either way, I hope you enjoy. If you've played even a single game of Bed Wars, you already know what's here. Lighthouse is an abomination. The problem appears immediately. Even after using all 16 blocks to reach the Diamond Island, you're forced into a 4-block jump. Twice. Just to bring the diamonds back. And if you buy a sword next, congratulations, you now have to make that same jump 2 more times before the map becomes playable. Yes, 4-block jumps are possible. That's not the point. They're easy to miss when you're being chased, half panicking, or glancing at mid. A map that demands perfect focus for basic resource transport is fundamentally broken. On top of that, Lighthouse is dull, spread out, and painfully slow. Emerald runs feel like errands. The darkness doesn't create atmosphere, it just makes everything grey. Worst map, easily. Facility has exactly one redeeming feature: the Diamond Islands. Early game PvP there can actually be fun. Dynamic and layered enough to briefly convince you this map might be okay. And then you hit mid. Emeralds are scattered across multiple floors and structures, momentum dies completely. And by the time you've finished one lap, everyone else has already arrived. This is a classic momentum killer map. It's also harsh to look at. Cluttered, noisy, and exhausting over time. Facility doesn't feel intense. It feels slow and messy. Arcane wants to feel grand and vertical. Instead, it feels inconvenient. Bridging to diamonds is awkward, falling is common. Emeralds are scattered, and side rushing takes forever. Games stretch out in ways that feel unearned. There are vertical maps that work beautifully. Arcane isn't one of them. This is spectacle without flow. Igloo is thematically unique, and mechanically miserable. Ice blocks ruin consistency, the boulder on the Diamond Island actively disrupts fights, and the distance to mid turns emerald runs into endurance tests. Nothing here is catastrophically broken, it's just a vibe drainer. Every time I load into Igloo, my enthusiasm drops before the game even starts. Haunted is a classical case of spectacle over substance. The layout is visually noisy, movement is constantly interrupted, and the flow never settles. Big jumps and awkward barriers make navigation feel irritating rather than expressive. It's also extremely dark. Yes, it fits the theme, but visibility suffers badly, and the block palette doesn't justify it. And yes, the emeralds are upstairs. Again. I'm starting to think this is a cry for help. Enchantment looks impressive, and plays far too forgivingly. Blocks underneath islands allow players to survive falls they really shouldn't. I've had games where I clear almost the entire lobby, only to discover someone hiding under a base like a gremlin who refuses to engage with the concept of PvP. You drop down to finish them, get hit off, and suddenly the game drags on for another 10 minutes. It removes a layer of skill that Bed Wars should reward. This is a casual friendly map, but it punishes experienced players in the process. Brutaxis is fine, and the problem is that fine isn't enough. The aesthetic is harsh, the angular design feels stiff, and bridging feels far more keyboard friendly than controller friendly. Nothing flows naturally here. I should explain something about how I play. I watch documentaries and half watch the game. Bedwars is muscle memory at this point, and Brutaxis doesn't allow that. You have to fully lock in just to move safely, and if a map forces me to pause a documentary, something has gone very wrong. That constant demand for attention makes it tiring rather than fun. Beehive looks cheerful, and that's about where the positives end. The fences behind base islands let players hide indefinitely, dragging games out for no reason. The stairs at mid lead nowhere useful because the emeralds aren't even up there. This feels like a failed movement sandbox, vertical ideas that never quite connect to gameplay. On paper, Oceanic is good. Bridging is efficient. Mid is compact. Emerald collection is fast. Mid itself is actually very well designed. So why is it here? Honestly, vibes. I've been comboed, toggled on, and humiliated on this map more times than I can count. At some point, a map just starts to feel cursed. That said, there are real flaws. Side rushing is exhausting, and the map is far too dark. You build a mid that cool, and then forget to light it properly. Tree Stump is pretty, but mechanically frustrating. Like Beehive and Enchantment, players can survive falls they shouldn't, which makes fights feel less skill-based. It also leans overly vertical, meaning that it's very easy to fail a bridge, or so a friend tells me. Anyway, moving on, we have Sandstorm. This map is tragic, because the early game is phenomenal. First rushes are fast, intense, and genuinely exciting. And then you reach mid. Bridging takes around 19 blocks, jet boosters become absurdly overpowered, and pacing collapses. If the islands were even slightly closer, this would be a top tier grinder map. So much promise, so poorly realised. Svartalfheim is stunning, one of the best looking maps in the game. The first rush is dynamic, with layered diamond islands that create interesting combos. Unfortunately, mid is annoying to navigate, and side rushing feels awkward due to dense terrain. This is a fantasy first map. Beautiful, atmospheric, but PvP clearly came second. This map is incredibly ADHD friendly. Cars to jump on, fence gates, unusual emerald placement. It's basically a playground. Movement is chaotic and fun if you have blocks to work with, but that chaos cuts both ways. Side rushes are long, and those playful elements can become obstacles during serious fights. Fun, messy, memorable. Orbit is mechanically solid. Side rushing is efficient, emerald collection is clean, and bridging from diamonds to mid is straightforward. It's also one of the most successful dark maps visually. Miss the correct bridging spot from base island to diamonds though, and you're stranded. Orbit gets almost everything right, but never quite feels effortless. Sway is massively underrated. It's spacious, uncluttered, and mechanically excellent. Mid offers multiple routes, PvP feels fluid, and nothing distracts you unnecessarily. Yes, it's dark and visually bland, but that simplicity is part of why it plays so well. This is a pure mechanics map. This is Sway with better vibes. Gameplay is identical, but the festive visuals fix my biggest complaint. It's still dark, but more pleasant, and that small change genuinely matters. Sprout might be the most beautiful Bedwars map on Hive. Vibrant, green, and natural, but slightly claustrophobic in PvP heavy games. Dense foliage can obscure movement at exactly the wrong moments. With clearer sightlines, this could easily be top 5. Structurally identical to Trick or Treat, yet somehow better. Brighter, less claustrophobic, and still packed with fun mid elements. This is a nostalgia-boosted chaos map, and I have a lot of good memories here. Mushroom is one of the most honest Bedwars maps ever made. 16 blocks to diamonds, 16 to emeralds, clean side rushes, plenty of PvP space. Nothing flashy, nothing clever, just good fundamentals. This is the baseline grinder map, and it works because it never gets in your way. Castle is mushroom optimised. Tighter pacing, closer emerald generators, smoother grind. It rewards consistency and timing without tipping into chaos. Restraint done right. Warped is one of the most comfortable maps in the rotation. Efficient mid, great PvP space, an atmosphere without clutter. Side rushes are slightly long, but otherwise this map is mechanically excellent. Warped rewards deliberate, thoughtful play. Turris proves that vertical Bedwars maps can work. Dramatic without being disruptive. Unique bridging flow, layered PvP spaces, and stairs at mid that actually serve a purpose. This is a movement awareness map. Positioning matters more than raw clicking speed. Festive feels like a PvP arena disguised as Bedwars. Cramped intersections, elevated mid, and the best jet booster gameplay in the game. Open stretches reward speed, tight stairs reward precision. Without jet boosters, this map would be chaos in a bad way. With them, it becomes skill expression. Library is almost perfect. Movement feels effortless, spacing is elegant, and the warm palette keeps everything readable. Jet boosters feel incredible here because the map supports them. At some point, a map stops being geometry and starts being muscle memory. Library lives there. Aero is Bedwars at its mechanical peak. 12 blocks to diamonds, tight emerald layout, endless momentum. Blocks become tools instead of necessities. If diamonds were even 2 blocks further away, the entire tempo would collapse. That's how finely tuned this map is. A grinder's dream. Fast, skill-based, endlessly replayable. Whether you agree or disagree with any of this ranking, you're probably right. Map design is completely subjective. Sure, there are criteria we can use. How many blocks you need to get from island to island, how aesthetically unique a map is, how comfortable the PvP feels, and those things do matter. But in the end, rankings like this come down to intuition, to feel, to which maps click with the way you play. So what's your favourite Bedwars map? And what do you think that says about you as a player? Thanks for watching, and I hope you have a great day.